Yeah,
So
100%.
in that same vein, how can people go out and get that kind of assistant, that clinical research assistant type role, in your opinion, to kind of give them a little bit of experience before, they apply on to, something bigger and better?
Yeah. So you want to start those conversations. So you first, if you're in, let's just say you're in Arizona, you want to go and you want to find the clinical research centers in Arizona near you. Speak to those site directors, speak to a lead study coordinator, express your interest in learning more about clinical research, and see if they will give you an opportunity to do 5 or so hours a week, helping with chart review, or organizing lab kits, or organizing, creating source folders or anything like that. Just ask, start the conversation, ask. There's so many things that we do on a day-to-day basis, especially on a site level, that if someone had came to me and said, hey, I'll just organize your lab kits, I'll say, when can you start? And
Exactly,
that's
exactly.
your way in. That's your way in. And then you, from there, you say, well, I would be interested in learning a little bit more about how you recruit for patients. And then you just continue to span, it's like water, one drop, and then it just spreads out. You just get
Hmm.
in and you just kind of spread out and just learn all you can. There's nothing there's nothing that that should be beneath you. You should just say, hey, I'm willing, I'm open to learning, because 2, 3 months from now, if there's an opening or they get a new study and they say, hey, we need another assistant, they're going to look to you because you've been there, the processes, so that's a easier way to get a job, because you've been there and they know you, they know your work ethic. So you gotta, those are some of the starting points there.
Right. All right. Thank you for that. Those gems right there for the audience.
Yeah.
Um, so after you did the CRC thing, you went on to do CRA, and then after
Mm-hmm.
you did CRA for a while, you then went on to do project management.
Mm-hmm.
What interested you about making that transition from really the clinical side to project management? Because I started on the project management side actually, and then I went to CRA, but I got my start on the project management side.
Yeah. Well, see, everyone has a different direction. So
Exactly.
at that time, I think I was starting to lean towards family. I recently married, and, starting to lean towards, hey, kids, and, kids being in the pipeline. And, can I really keep up this 8 to 10 days on site as a CRA? And so that's where I started thinking, okay, where am I going to be in 5 years? And what do I need to start doing now? Because that's, you can't just say, okay, I have kids, now what? You got to start planning a little bit
Right.
ahead of time. So that's
Right.
where I said, okay, so what can I continue to do in this space, but and make an impact, but not necessarily travel as much. And so that's when I learned about the clinical trial manager. Sometimes it's interchangeably used as project manager. It just really depends on the company.
Right.
But that's when I got my first exposure. And again, with that one, I came in as an in-house CRA. And so they were looking for an in-house CRA. So someone who wasn't traveling, but traveling a little bit, but not as much as, the CRAs that are on the road, 8 to 10 days per month. So they were
Right.
looking for an in-house CRA. And after, again, 3 to 4 months, they were like, would you be interested in managing this project? It's a phase 4 study. It's observational. It's not as intense as a phase 1.
Wow.
And so that's when I said, yeah, and okay. And so it was a lot of these things too are, you have your SOPs, and then it's on the job learning. It's figuring it out, kind of, you don't want to make too many major mistakes, but it's the SOPs, following the protocol. But some of this is just on the job learning, asking your colleagues, pulling from past experiences. So I was able to attend to that role, that clinical trial manager. I had to plan an investigators meeting, and I was like, plan an investigators meeting? And I was like, okay. And, but then I was like, but you've attended 15 of them, so let's
Right.
just flip it around. Okay, if you're not an attendee and you're planning it, what do you need to do? So there's a lot of things that you'll get in your experience as a study coordinator or even a CRA that you wouldn't think that would not transfer. They do transfer. You just have to look at it from a different perspective. So look at it from top down versus going up. So you just have to you can do it with the skill set and the eagerness to learn.
Right, right, right. Yeah, very, very good information there. So, with your time as a project manager,
Hmm.
well, I guess one thing I want to unpack there is
Hmm.
you started out as an in-house CRA at that company, but you already had previous CRA experience at that time.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's not like you started as an in-house CRA, then moved to project manager.
Yeah,
Um,
no,
Now, was this company like a very large company or was it a small company? Because typically
no,
they give you those opportunities at smaller companies where you can just
exactly.
move like that.
Right on. It was a small biotech in San Diego. San Diego is a big hub for biotech companies. There's so
Mhm.
many biotech companies out there. Opportunity. There's not a lot of s- more steps than you would see as a CRO. CRO, you have to come in, you have to, show 2, 3 years experience before they will bump you up to the next level. At a small biotech, if you can show that you can do it, you may be bumped up within less than a year, but it's
Right.
your work ethic, your eagerness, your collaboration. They're not just going to just do it for anyone, but if they can see a shining light out of you, they're like, okay, yeah, this is a good one to keep, and let's see how we can continue to promote within. So yes, those small biotechs are excellent opportunities to advance to project manager sooner than you would probably at a CRO.
Right. Would you say that's true for like many positions? Like even if someone wants to go from like an in-house CRA to a field monitor CRA,
Oh yeah.
um,
Hmm.
you think those opportunities are there at smaller biotechs too?
Yeah, exactly. 100%. The smaller, because you have to think, I think our clinical department was 17 people and we
Uh-huh.
had 10 studies going on, and then, but we had, that 17 people was made up of DM and, the stats group and the medical monitor. So there weren't a lot of roles to do project manager or CRAs. So there's a lot of opportunity at these small biotechs because it's a small group, and so they're like, okay, what other skill set may you have? Are you interested? Okay, let's make sure you're trained. And yes, you want to be a CRA, you could go for it because it's not a big team to pull from to begin with.
Right. It sounds like I've heard, I've never worked for a small biotech, but I've heard it's like there's great opportunities, like you said, and you can wear many hats typically with lots of different
Exactly.
experiences all around.
Exactly. I mean, I literally got exposure to DM, like data management and building the database during that time. I got experience. I worked very closely with the medical monitor, where, in a bigger company, I may never interact with the medical monitor in the same conference room, almost every other meeting, so there's a lot of exposure and you are definitely able to wear multiple hats. And if you're interested in other roles, voice that to your manager so they can know, so they can look for opportunities that you may not even see. They may know of a study coming up down the pipeline that they want you to head because you voiced that. I would love to be a project manager, or I love to be a clinical trial manager. So you have to speak to your managers and just let them know.
Yep. Okay. That's good to know. So for all you guys listening out there, go check out those small biotechs.
Hmm.
Um, is there a place they can look, or should they just Google small biotechs that you can kind of think of? Are there ones that they should be looking out for?
Well, see, let's just say San Diego, for example. If you just put biotech companies in San Diego on
Mhm.
Google, there's going to be a list, and it may take you to CenterWatch, or it may take you to another site that has correlated them all into one site, and so that's a good place to start.
Yep.
But just some quick searches. So yeah, clinical research recruiters. The clinical research recruiters, they're very good too. If you have some experience and you're looking to make your next move, They're not necessarily good for brand new people. Like if you're just starting off as a CTM and you don't have any CTM experience, the clinical research recruiters, they may not be able to help you. But if you have 5 years or 3 years or 2 years of clinical trial management experience, or even a CRA, 2 or 3 years, they're a good resource because they are in contact with companies. Sometimes they'll call me and say, I got a job with Sunshine Pharmaceuticals. And I'm like, Sunshine Pharmaceuticals? I've never even heard of it. You know, they have a network of people that you've never even heard of. So it's good to get on their list. But those are for the more experienced people that are looking, you know, for other options outside of these bigger companies. That's a clinical research recruiters are good to connect with.
Okay, that's good information. That's good information.
Yeah.
No, this is awesome because we rarely talk about those smaller biotechs. I mention them from time to time, but I haven't really talked to someone who's actually worked for them yet on the channel. So this is awesome.
Perfect. Good.